Welcome back to Conversations with Jules. I'm your host, Jules, where I have real conversations with real people in real life. Before we do anything, I need you guys to go ahead and click that subscribe button. It is right below. Make sure you comment, like, and most importantly, share, because sharing is caring. Today, I am sitting down with my friend Ashley. She is a school psychologist. She has some inside information about what we can do about schooling in this quarantine. I've known Ashley for at least 6 years at this point, and she's my ace boon. We be riding tight, we be rolling. But Ashley, say hi to the people. Say what's up.
Hey guys. Hey y'all. Oh hey yo, whatever.
But as I mentioned, Ashley's a school psychologist at a school in South Philadelphia. We are on quarantine. She has quarantined herself out of the state.
Okay.
So yeah, we're going to dive into, some of the questions that maybe some parents may have as far as their child's education is considered. I know you can give us some legal perspective about what can go on and what is to come. So before we dive into all the legal stuff, can you just break down what a school psychologist does for our students in the school district?
I'm so glad you asked that, because I think people automatically correlate school psychologist to school counselor, and big up to my school counselors, our roles are completely different. Okay. So my role specifically in the school district of Philadelphia, because it changes everywhere, I give an educational diagnosis. So I'm the person who will classify your child to be in special education. I can take them out. It's not necessarily my role to find placement. However, I make very strong recommendations on what I think might benefit your student in special education.
So are you the one who will write the IEP? Are you holding the IEP? So for those who don't know, IEP is like the
individualized education plan. Yeah, so no, I don't write the IEP. So so going back to, I create the diagnosis. Okay. So that's like a doctor telling you that, I don't know, you have cancer, right? Mm-hmm. And then you go to a cancer treatment center, and then the people at the treatment center are supposed to follow the protocols as to what the doctor recommended.
Okay. So you're the recommendation.
Yeah. So in some states we do some therapy. In Philadelphia, the school psychologist does not. A lot of my role.
You don't do therapy, really?
No. I mean, it just happens naturally. Just because, it's who I am.
Right.
No like sessions, or we don't have appointments or anything like that. I mean, I have my kids who check in all the time, who just come eat lunch with me, but that's like the school counselor's job. There's so many grant funded programs in the school district that handle that, because special education is such a big and difficult deal.
So I'm glad you said there's a separation between the counselor and the school psychologist, because I would think that the school psychologist will be the ones holding like the therapy sessions and like the behavioral things, but you just said that the counselor does the like therapy sessions. So that's very interesting. Thank you for clearing that up. When it comes to diagnosing our kids, and especially our inner city youth and our Black children, let's say our Black and brown and minority children, do you think there's an oversaturation?
In the background playing the game.
Can you hear him? I heard when you said I didn't hear him before, but do you think there is an oversaturation of diagnoses when it comes to like our minorities and our Black and brown babies and that kind of thing?
Yes, that's why there's a huge movement. So I'm a member of the National Association of School Psychologists. So I'm nationally certified to do this. And the organization has a movement going on right now that it started, a few years ago, where we're really like heavily going into our HBCUs to introduce the role of a school psychologist, because when you major in psychology, there's so many things you can do with it. Like I started
guilty.
right. I started as a psych ed major, so I was double majoring at first, and then the state of Virginia decided, you know, out of the blue, they said, well, we ain't going to have an education major. It's going to be interdisciplinary studies. Because originally I was going to school to be a teacher. And then when they said, you got to start over, I said, well, y'all give me some money. And Hampton was like, ha, girl, bye, no. I was like, all right, well, I'll just continue on with school, with psychology. I always wanted to be some type of psychologist. And school psychology was in my realm, but it was very rare on how I fell upon school psychology. So we're really trying to recruit a lot of our people, because even though white people may grow up in Philadelphia, they may know our kids, they may live around our kids, I don't think they fully understand
our kids. They don't understand this.
They don't, you know, they don't understand the difference between learning disability and lack of exposure. So
that's very important. That's very important.
Yes. So as a school psychologist, specifically to identify a learning disability, we look at several things. However, one of the major things is the disconnection between your cognitive and your academia, right?
Okay.
So I can test you and your IQ could be in the 90s, right? Which is average. And then I'll give you an academic assessment, but you're like 3 or 4 grade levels behind, you know, you're testing in the 70s. That would, you know, indicate a learning disability. But how is it a learning disability if
IQ is average? Right.
And I'm gonna tread lightly for my fellow school psychologists that are listening, but how is it a learning disability if this kid, you know, they don't get bedtime stories, or, you know, they go to school and they may not be a behavioral kid, so they may just be sitting in the class all day not doing anything. So now you're falling into, it's a lot.
It's a thing. That's another conversation.
But this is why I became a school psychologist, because, you know, we need people of color. We need our people to represent our people.
And to stand up for them and to defend them and to be on their side and to understand them and understand where they come from, because it's not even always about, like you said, education or, you know, lack thereof. It's just about the exposure that we don't have. And it's not like we don't have it because we don't want it. We don't have it because we don't have it. Like, that's just what it is. So, yeah.
And the difference too between, you know, your... so you hear like, I want to do this because I want to give back. So we talked about this at CFA too. Like, a lot of people,
and for those who don't know, the CFA is the Center for Autism. That's where I met Ashley. Yes, okay, I gotta backtrack a little bit. So Ashley and I, we worked at the Center for Autism, where we served low-income families with children who were on the spectrum from the ages 2.5 to 6. All of our clients came in for free. It was paid for by their insurance. But again, like I said, these were low-income families. These were not, you know, Bala Kenwood or whatever. If you're watching from another city, wherever your upper-class neighborhood was. No, this was inner city.
This won't them.
It was inner city, urban, like usually one income households, and their kids were on the spectrum. So that's the type of work that we did, a nonprofit situation. That is the Center for Autism. We don't work there anymore, but the Center for Autism still exists. But go ahead.
Right. So like, I wanna give back to my community versus, yo, I'm going in there and I'm protecting my people. You know what I mean? I think our mindsets are a little bit different. Like, while I did want a fulfilling career to give back to my community, I can give back and volunteer for the Red Cross. I'm trying to go and I'm trying to protect my babies because the kid that can't sit down, no, he doesn't have ADHD. And then the only thing that, girl, so many avenues.
Because let's walk down one. Let's go. I see it. Let's walk down it. I'm there. Let's go.
So you think about our parents who need the assistance. You know, a lot of parents get SSI from having a student with a disability. So I worked at the Social Security office too. So
I got the inside information. Let me sip my wine on that one.
So I would see people that came in to apply. You know, everybody just thinks that Black people are just freeloaders and we just want free money.
Black and brown. It's not just Black people. Black, brown, minority. Right. Anybody of color.
Right. And I've seen the side of it where the parent is actually coming in for help. Like, I cannot pay my rent. My kid does have something. Can we just give him some type of disability so I can get an extra check? You know, that's an extra couple $100 a month. But then at the same time, it's like, I don't want to diagnose this kid because now your kid is just another statistic.
Right. And that's what we don't want. We don't want to keep building statistics. We don't want to keep building this generation of like SSI.
Right. Exactly. Right. Because my school, I won't identify the school, but my school, we have about 600 kids, 296 students are special ed. 296, that's half the population.
Wow. Yeah. That's crazy.
So when they come to me like, I think this kid is, no, he ain't. Put his ass in the back of that class.
Okay.
Give him some work.
Right. And just to touch on that a little bit, so going back to our experience at the Center for Autism, like the culture there was different. So as I said, we served low income urban children. So they were Black and brown children. And the majority of the staff was not Black or brown. I'll put it like that. And like it was a very few of us that were like Black. Very few of us were Black there that worked there. And the culture there was just so different because, you know, we would walk into the room and be like, sit down. And it would be like, but then, you know, our coworkers will walk in and they will be getting smacked in the face and spit on and kicked in the face. And it was like, well, right. And it's like, I don't think that we did anything aggressive, but I do think our approach to them were like, listen, they're not slow. They're not stupid. They understand what we're saying. They may not have the verbal skills, but they understand when you say, I'm not playing with you. Like, they understand all right.
Except for that time I looked the kid in the face like this, and he was like, oh, look at your face. He's like,
right, yeah. But it's those little things where I can say, at least me and you, I can speak on our behalf because we're talking right now. We have the mindset where like your diagnosis does not limit you. Like, at the end of the day, you still are a human being, you still are a child, and there are still rules and there are still rules to follow. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're nonverbal, it doesn't matter if you have behavior issues, it doesn't matter if you have tantrums. At the end of the day, these are my expectations. My expectations are for you just to listen to me. Like, I know you hear me, because if you have enough sense to throw something at me, to try to spit at me, and to kick me, then you have enough sense to understand what I'm saying. At the end of the day, although you have a diagnosis and your verbal skills and your communication may be low, you still understand my body language. You still understand the expectation. And right now, the expectation is we're getting up and we're walking.
Yeah.
Period. But as far as some of the legal rights that parents have during this quarantine, granted, it's just been a semester. I know you don't want to talk about it, girl. I know you had a whole issue earlier, but granted, it's only been one semester, so it's not like we were here for, you know, multiple semesters. It was the last semester of the school year. So overall, if you weren't performing well 1 through 3 and you got here and you're still not performing well, that's on you overall. But for those parents that are like teetering, where this up and down, up and down, up and down, and now they're online, and I know there are many different learning styles, but some people just aren't good with this online thing. They need to be in a classroom. They need to be like in your face, like this is what's going on. Right, me too. I would never be able to survive right now. So I guess as far as the legal rights that parents may have, or the questions that parents may have, as far as their child is considered going to the next grade or being held back, what type of options do they have right now?
So there are, all right, so the district is very lenient right now. Okay. And Dr. Height does a live every Wednesday at like 1 o'clock or something like that on Facebook. Y'all all got Facebook. Go on there. He does have some really good information. Excuse me. So I'm more so considering the parents' perspective, right? So like our parents are not certified teachers. Our parents have no interest on being a teacher, and you know, these kids need help online, but every parent doesn't just have one kid. I might have a first grader, a fifth grader, a ninth grader. They're all on school online at the same time. The thing is, none of these kids can get failed. Like, they can't fail them.
Right.
Do your best. Do your best. You don't want this time to be a tug of war between you and your child. It's okay if they get more TV than they normally would. It's okay if they eat more snacks than they typically would. We are all struggling, right? So we're all in this together. And
we're all in this together. What we know, taking job.
So there's like this mom petition, right? Like a competition against all of these moms on who's gonna have the smartest kid, who's doing the best sensory project. Like, you see me post my kid in her little ghetto sensory board. This is okay. This is where we at. I found some bows.
This is
some bottle caps.
Whatever gets you through your day.
It's a texture. So don't, give yourself a little bit of grace as far as making sure your kid is going to survive academically, because when we all return, we're all going to have to start over somewhere. There's going to be a group of kids who excel. There's going to be a group of kids who regress. But you're all going to be in the same classroom. Just give yourself grace. I wouldn't even, stress getting every single thing done,
Okay.
That's where I'm at. Right.
Fair enough. When it comes to the parents of the students who have the IEPs, and this is probably very hard for them, and even the structure is definitely gone now because they're used to being in a classroom or in a school building. And let's just clear something up. We also have to be very honest with ourselves. I'm not a parent, but as parents, that even when your child is in school, they're not schooling from 8 to 3. There are breaks. They have recess. They have lunch. They have like elective classes. Right. So they're not sitting. They're not sitting in like a math class for 8 hours a day. They're not sitting in social studies for 8 hours a day. They have breaks. So let's, like you were saying, give grace. Let's also make sure we are concepting, like they're not sitting in a classroom all day. They have breaks. They get to do things. So that's number one. But back to the IEPs, like the parents who have students that have IEPs and they're not on structured time. They're not having a structured lesson, and they're struggling with that. Are there any like online supports that we can do besides having like a Zoom meeting with the teacher, or besides doing a Google Meet? Is there anything else, like any free services online that they could go to or being offered? Because I know you said the counselors offered like the therapy piece to it. So what can the kids and parents do as far as getting that therapeutic support?
So the School District of Philadelphia's website is great, right? So many people knock our district, but we try really hard. There are so many resources that they added to the site because of COVID-19. So in addition to Google, But I would really because you got to go based on your kid's strengths. So I can give you like general websites. However, every kid is different, especially in special education. Like every learning disabled student is different. Every student with autism, every kid is different. Right. To survive this situation, focus on your kid's strengths, right? So we always want to like improve the weaker parts. We're all struggling. Do not because your kid couldn't count to 20, do not force them and hang them upside down. Try to get them. They gonna count to 20 next year. Right. Everybody relax. Okay.
Patience. So I'm currently an educator. I'm seventh grade. I'm a 7th grade teacher at a middle school. And that's the thing that I have to like be mindful of, because I know the parents are like, listen, my son said he did this and he did this and like he has an F in his class and like they're coming at me, but I also have to understand they're just as frustrated as I am. But I also would like,
and they have way more going on in their household.
Right. But what I would also like for the parents to understand is that I am one person. Right. I have 108 students, and sorry, there may be a lot of Jasons in the class. So when you just say, what's Jason's progress? And I say, what's Jason's last name? And you hit me back with the, you should know. I'm sorry, I have 108 students. Do you know how many Jasons I have come across? But anyway, neither here nor there. So the most important thing is that both sides have to be patient with one another. I can say that me and my Google Classroom, I'm very patient with as far as assignments getting done. My assignments are still posted from March 18th. Get to them when you get to them. Just know that on June 1st they're coming down because I gotta, I gotta do what I gotta do. So, right. So I just want to make sure that everybody is on the same page. Like, be patient on both sides.
Right. What the inner city districts don't benefit from is a PTA. The Parent Teacher Association is so strong because these are your tax. You're paying for this. These are your taxes, your tax dollars, right?
Right.
So if you rally together and you express your concerns along with the teachers, you express your concerns, they'll listen to us. But if you're not going to stand up for your kid or your friends' kids, then the district is just going to say, yeah, well, they cool with it, so
right. I don't hear much about a PTA now. Like, I have a nephew who's going into the 6th grade, and like I remember, because he goes to the same school that I went to at an elementary school, but I remember like seeing like PTA meetings like on like a calendar or a newsletter, and they don't even get that anymore. So it's like, how are these parents supposed to even know that there is an association? How do they get on the board? How do they participate? Like, not even when it comes to just the PTA, but just like in general in our community, like we don't know when these town hall meetings are because they're so small, they're so minute. They're like at the bottom of a newspaper and it's like this much space and you don't see it. So it's like, I just feel like from the jump, we're set up for failure from the jump. But
right, you have to dig for
if we go down this other avenue.
Right. You have to dig for the information. That's number one. Sad that we have to do that. But if there's no PTA at your school, create one. It could be you and another parent. It does not have to be 17, 18 parents. Julie and I can go in and start a PTA at my school. As long as it's more than one. Look at the stipulations, but I think it's like as long as it's more than one individual. Like,
oh, bless. Yes, look it up.
So
I'm pretty sure the Philadelphia School District has that on the website. Look it up.
Right.
Girl, we could talk about this for hours, honey. We can go in. We can go down avenues, turn down the street, walk down the other avenue, go back around the corner, go down Broad Street. We could.
Right. Sit on Kelly Drive, have a picnic, get back up, go down the drive, hit the art museum, go down the art museum.
Girl, we can go on and on and on.
It's a lot, man. It's so much.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in again with another episode of Conversations with Jules. I sat down with Ashley, who is a school psychologist. She gave us some great information about what to do as far as proceeding on in the school year. We know it's a lot, we know it's frustrating, but you have resources, activate them, get into your local PTA, make sure that you are active in your child's education because you have rights too. But you know the drill. Go ahead and subscribe right below. Click that subscribe button. Make sure you comment, like, and share, and hit the notification bell if you want to have more updates. And keep in mind, I'm all that good stuff. So I'm just gonna close out. Do you have anything else you have to say, Miss Ashley?
No, but don't forget to comment below for the assistant.
Yes, yes. Do that. So comment below if you need assistance, if you're not working right now and you have children and you're struggling. Comments below. Ashley and I will select each person individually and we will drop something in your Cash App. So comment below for that. But thanks, guys.